All right. This is episode 56 of the Battle of Ohio podcast. The Bengals and Browns both finished their games this week by a score of 17-13. Although the results in the win columns are different. So that's
great.
Preseason, so it doesn't really matter. But, the games did finish 17-13. Both of them did. It was interesting. We're going to break down all the action and our takeaways from the second preseason games as we head out the third and final week, where we'll get a better picture of who's in and who's out of the final rosters. And finally, that team that we don't like out east made David Blau look good. Because why, Thomas?
Because the Steelers still suck.
Because the Steelers still suck. All right.
Welcome to the Battle of Ohio podcast, where we follow the revival of the historic rivalry between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Cleveland Browns.
All right, so before we get started, why don't you tell me what you're drinking today, Thomas?
Today, I am drinking I'm keeping it simple. I'm drinking this good old-fashioned Budweiser.
Budweiser. I do like me some Budweiser.
It's a good cold one, too.
I know I'm always having, these, interesting, craft beers and stuff, but I'm definitely not the kind of person who, I don't want to drink Budweiser. I want to drink super porter, lager, etc. No, I guess Budweiser's a lager, right? But
yeah,
I like the classic stuff too. Not PBR though. PBR is gross.
PBR is gross. PBR is disgusting.
I don't know.
No sue us PBR, but your drink's disgusting.
Well, I guess if this segment of the show ever ends up getting sponsored, I guess we can't count on PBR to ever sponsor us. Not that I would want to do that, because then I'd have to drink PBR on camera, and that would be I don't really. I mean, no, okay, let me rephrase. Pabst Blue Ribbon. If you are willing to pay me enough, I would do it. I do have a price, but
no, you know what though? No, that PBR coffee smacks. That PBR coffee smacks on the low. That's the best thing PBR ever made.
PBR coffee.
Yeah, it's like a coffee drink, but it's not it's like a coffee beer drink. It smacks. It's so good. You have no idea what I'm talking about, do you?
No idea. That sounds.
It's really good, dude.
Coffee. That just doesn't sound good to me.
You'll be surprised. That's what I thought.
All right. Well, so anyway, I am drinking. I've actually got the same beer on that I had last week, because I bought a 6-pack, not a variety pack this time. So I'm drinking Hofbrau Munich. I think is just the German word for how they pronounce Munich. Hofbrau Original. It's from Hofbrau House. Hofbrau House is delicious, by the way.
Put this screen again. I want to see what beer it is again.
Hofbrau Original.
Okay, I got you. All right, cool.
I believe. I don't know for sure. I think it's from the Hofbrau House, which is this local German restaurant here in Cincinnati. Fucking delicious, by the way. I don't know if it's the same thing, but it's just I feel like I recognize the logo, the HB and the crown on that. Probably getting a blurry picture there, but I feel like I recognize that logo, so that's what makes me think it might be produced by Hofbrau House. They have some really good beers there too. But I don't know, but that place is delicious. So anybody who's listening, if you haven't been to Cincinnati, or if you're in Cincinnati and haven't been to Hofbrau House, check them out. It's fantastic stuff. I got some good brats there. Oh man, and this stuff is good. It was good on the last podcast too, but I was a little busy having fun with you and Brad to talk too much about the beer.
That was a fun episode.
That was a good episode. We will be having him on again at some point. He's already told me he wants to come on again, and I think I'd love to have him on again. That was a good episode.
That was a good episode. Yeah, that was a really good episode.
All right, so let's go ahead and jump into the kind of the meat of the podcast here. So I guess we'll start the like I said, both teams finished their games 17-13. The Bengals, however, lost their game 17-13 to the Washington football team. And we have both been probably some of the biggest Brandon Allen fans that exist on the planet, mostly because Brandon Allen doesn't really have any fans. But we've been supporting him here on this podcast. He was awful. He was just
he was
absolutely disgustingly bad. Like, oh man, he threw 17 passes. Only had 8 of them completed for 70 yards and a 58.5 quarterback rating. I mean, it was just, man. And look, the receivers didn't help either. Like Jamar Chase in particular.
They're roasting him right now.
Yeah, he's been going viral for the fact that he got thrown the ball 3 times, dropped it all 3 times.
Yep.
Now I will say, Bengals just completed practice today, and he was lighting it up on the practice field today as far as catches goes. He had this one grab that, but it was a really nice grab. I don't know which quarterback was throwing it to him, but he zipped it. That would hurt your hands to catch, but he just stretched out there and he corralled that thing in his hands, and that was the Jamar Chase that we saw back in college with those iron grip hands. So it is there, and everybody's been saying once he unlocks it, he's going to be fine. And this is Jamar Chase. He's got kind of that same mentality Joe Burrow's got. Where it's if I have a problem, I'm going to attack it head on, and I'm going to give it everything I got. This is the guy who caught 10,000 passes in the summer of his, I think, senior year in college, just because he wanted to get better at catching the football. So he made a point to catch the ball 10,000 times in the offseason. So I think he's going to be fine, but let's not lie, it didn't look great. But at the same time, Brandon Allen also didn't look great. Brandon Allen looked pretty bad. And I really don't think Jamar Chase and Brandon Allen have that connection right now. So, Jamar Chase got to catch those balls, but at the same time, if you're not in sync, it can be really difficult to, just turn it on and immediately start doing well. But I almost want to guarantee that the second Joe Burrow gets back on the field and he's throwing past Jamar Chase, they're going to light it up.
Brandon Allen looks better than freaking Trevor Lawrence does right now. Again, butt kick against the freaking Saints right now. If y'all not watching the game.
There's another example. Sometimes people struggle coming out the gate. It doesn't mean they're going to, especially because it's preseason. It's not going to.
Yeah.
I will say people, a lot of Bengals fans or a lot of Bengals analysts or whoever, they keep trying to insist that every time you hear them talk about Jamar Chase, they're insisting that, oh, we're not worried about the drops. We're not worried about, the fact that he's been dropping all these balls. And I think the fact that every time they talk about Jamar Chase, they have to preface it with the fact that they're not worried makes me think they might be a little worried. And I'm not going to lie, I'm a little worried too. I'm a little worried. I'm not that worried because, like I said, I think it's preseason. I think, he hasn't played football in 2 years. I think he's, the last time he had a non-Joe Burrow quarterback was back in high school. So I think everybody kind of needs to chill a little bit. But I'm not going to lie, I'm not completely not worried. I'm definitely ooh, these drops are bad. But, I also have full faith that he's going to get it figured out.
Man, look, on the low, all right, let's be real. Like you said, it's preseason. I don't think that Trevor Lawrence is a bad quarterback, for example. Trevor Lawrence is getting butt kicked right now by the Saints. Y'all probably see this by the time the podcast is edited. Same thing with Jamar Chase, man. Jamar Chase, man, I'm not worried about Jamar Chase. I heard somebody on TikTok say, they talked about this whole debate. A lot of Bengals fans, now I'm hearing from the Bengals fans. Usually I hear from you what Bengals fans saying, but I'm literally hearing Bengals fans saying, "Oh, we should have went Penny Sewell." Y'all ain't even shut the hell up, please. Cause on the low, even y'all had Penny Sewell. Okay, what would that redone for y'all for real? Not a lot, jack shit. Jamar Chase, man, Jamar Chase is the right pick. he's gonna be fine. Like he's honestly gonna be fine. You know, he's probably still trying to find his rhythm and everything. But as soon as he get in a groove with things, you can't fault it. Like preseason's practice, man. That's all it is. Just him getting like in a rhythm, him getting used to getting hit and stuff. Like nobody's good the first day. Now, if this week 16, he's still dropping 3 balls in a game, then you guys should be worried. But I don't think that's gonna happen. I think Jamar Chase I think he might have a slow start to the season. That's all it's proved. He might have a slow start to the season, but I don't think it's gonna mean that he's gonna be a bust. Yeah. You can't say somebody's gonna be a bust from, I mean,
I don't
you just can't. Plenty of rookies had bad preseasons. I mean, Deshaun Kaiser had the best quarterback rating in his rookie class in preseason. So
look what happened to him.
Yeah.
Yep. So you were talking about the Penny Sewell versus Jamar Chase debate. And we've talked about that, I think, the last couple episodes. It keeps getting brought back up. Mostly it was getting brought up, though, because Jackson Carman was kind of struggling to get in with the first team. And, when he, like, his first preseason game, he didn't look so good. But, in addition to the fact that everybody's like, oh, Jamar Chase is automatically a bust because he dropped 3 passes in a preseason game. Therefore, he's awful and going to be terrible. And So part of it is people like latching onto that, but before that they were latching onto the fact that Jackson Carman hasn't been, immediately like this amazing Hall of Fame interior guard. It's like, oh no, he's a human at first, and everybody's like, well, this is why we said you got to go take Penny Sewell because the Bengals can't be trusted to go take somebody in the middle rounds, and you know what, guys, shut up, because Jackson Carman did fine against the Washington football team. I mean, again, he wasn't like, out there like the best player on the field or anything like that, but this dude, he's putting it together. Like, it might take a couple of weeks to get going, but you got to remember, like, 2020 being as weird of a season as it was, and Jackson Carman's making a position change, and he's like super young. It's like, guys, calm down. Jackson Carman, you got to give him some time. I don't know if he's going to be the guy or whatever, but you got to give him some time to figure that out first. And then everybody's wanting to just shoot back to the Penny Sewell debate, regardless of how well Penny Sewell's been performing in Detroit, which, by the way, didn't help them much against the Steelers. I just want to say that real quick. But, point being, Jamar Chase is probably going to be fine. Jackson Carman has already shown that he's getting better. And, hopefully before too long, he's going to start breaking into these first team reps. So I have nothing really left to say to the people who are still trying to bring up the Penny Sewell versus Jamar Chase debate. Like, we made our decision already. And the guys who are on the team, the guys that we did make the decision about, are going to be fine. And if they're not, you got to wait. You got to wait more than a couple of preseason weeks to make that decision.
You got to realize, though, like, you're talking to a fan base that suffered for a long time. And when you talk about back-to-back rebuilds, it's hard, man. It's hard. You're in a rebuild season. You're trying to develop this young quarterback. Rebuilds are hard, man. Trust me. I know. I'm from Cleveland. Nobody knows rebuilds better than Cleveland. Like, all 3 of our teams were going to rebuild for most of my life. Like, trust me, nobody knows. Like, and rebuilds divide the fan base. Rebuild, everybody got an opinion on how they should build the team and what they should do. But at the end of the day, when you're talking about a rebuild, it's all about patience. It's all about patience. I mean, you talk about relaxing. I say patience, man, because it's hard to relax on rebuild. That shit stresses you out. But it's all about patience. It's all about being patient. It's all about, man, it's hard to say because, who knows? Maybe Jamar Chase might be a bust. I don't think he will. I think he'll be fine. But Penny Sewell, man, honestly, Penny Sewell on the Lions, he ain't gonna really do anything for the Lions. But Jamar Chase, he can elevate your offense to a new level. Jackson Carman, he's gonna be fine at the offensive lineman. The Browns got plenty of offensive linemen. Y'all gonna have one of ours. We got freaking backup offensive linemen that the Giants are trying to trade for. The Browns Dave Gettleman was talking about the Browns backup offensive linemen. They're really good. It's just insane. So there's that. But I just think that I just think that everybody's need to be patient. Just be patient with this team. I still think y'all gonna have a great season this year. We haven't seen what the team look like with Joe Burrow behind as quarterback. They're probably just experimental stuff, just trying out things. It's all about just getting Jamar Chase in rhythm too. So don't just everybody just relax.
Hey, Thomas,
everybody stay patient. Yes.
I would like to while you were doing that, I decided to out of curiosity look up a particular stat line.
Okay.
So you want to hear how Penny Sewell did against the Pittsburgh Steelers in week 2 of the preseason?
Oh wait, hold up. Y'all gonna get my belt because somebody got bad grades?
Yeah, maybe.
All right, I got my belt.
All
right, Penny.
Oh boy, Penny Sewell, what did you do against the Pittsburgh Steelers? Well, you had 21 snaps, which is he probably played for about a quarter. So not a huge sample size on the day, but had an overall offensive grade from Pro Football Focus of 35.7.
35.7.
35.7. That's roughly about the grade I got in AP Calculus in high school.
Penny, let me tell you something. Did you study?
Did you study? Did you study the Steelers?
35.7. This is what my parents say to me. With 35.7, it don't seem like you study.
Okay, so that's with a 54 run blocking grade and a 13.5 pass blocking grade. Like it's you know why he got a 13.5 pass blocking grade? He allowed 2 quarterback hurries. What the fuck does PR mean? PR. Pressures allowed. Okay, so two quarterback, 2 hurries and 2 pressures allowed, with a pass blocking efficiency of 92.3, which is like super the lowest of the entire team actually. So look, I'm not sitting here trying to trash talk Penny Sewell. I don't want him to do badly or anything like that. I just want to point out that just like y'all are like a lot of people here probably hear me right now, Kyle, it's preseason. He's going up against the Steelers and look at that pass rush. How can you blame Penny Sewell for not doing great in his, second game of his rookie year? And I'm like, exactly.
Same thing you can say about Jamar Chase. And here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. That's actually alarming to me that he's struggling with pass blocking because the whole reason y'all wanted Penny Sewell in the first place to protect Joe Burrow. So you have somebody struggling with pass blocking in the preseason. I mean, so that day y'all be like, oh well, how you gonna protect Joe Burrow? We can't block for the pass. So it's the same argument, same energy.
Would you like to hear how Jackson Carman did against the Washington football team? He had an overall offensive grade of 75. Way ahead of anything Penny Sewell did. He had a 78.2 grade in the
75?
Yeah, 75.
That's way better.
That's passing, first of all.
Yeah,
Penny Sewell had a super F.
These get degrees.
Yeah, and in fairness, he had a 52 pass blocking grade, but he also didn't allow any hurries or pressures. So, the way I see it, and there was one particular podcast host, Jake Lisco of Locked On Bengals. He pointed out during the game that Jackson Carman's playing nasty. He's taken the fact that the Bengals aren't putting him in the starting lineup right away. He's taking that personally. He's working hard. He's staying after practice. He's, doing what's necessary to go be a great player. And guys, Penny Sewell doesn't look like a great player right now either. Now, does that mean Penny Sewell's a bust? No, it doesn't mean Penny Sewell's a bust. I mean, Penny Sewell's learning. It means it's his rookie preseason. But that is to say, shut up with this whole Penny Sewell versus Jamar Chase debate, because Penny Sewell's also learning. And you know what? It's like another thing I wanted to point out about this game is the offense. Brandon Allen was terrible, but it wasn't for lack of help. It was a little bit for lack of help on the receivers. Trent Irwin was dropping passes and fumbling the ball too. but which really sucks for him because he's on the roster bubble and he needs to fight for a roster spot, and that performance ain't gonna help him. But the offensive line played really well. Okay, the Bengals offensive line, is starting to get it together. We got people out here putting together good performances. And part of it's Jackson Carman doing really well. But it's also Michael Jordan, the guy who got Joe Burrow hurt. He took that shit personally, and he's been doing really well ever since. He's doing really well. Xavier Su'a-Filo had a good game. Fred Johnson had a good game. Keaton Sutherland and Jonah Williams all had good games. They all scored at least 65 as blockers this week. Riley Reef, Billy Price, and Quentin Spain also had really good days as pass blockers. They all scored, in the high 70s. Riley Reef also scored really well as a run blocker too. So I think both Riley Reef and Quentin Spain had their overall grades brought down because they had they had a couple penalties, and Quentin Spain was absolutely terrible as a run blocker. He scored like a 31.4. But the point being that the offensive line is doing what it needs to do right now. And at the end of the day, I think the most important thing we did was we brought in Frank Pollock as the offensive line coach. And they determined that they liked Jackson Carman for the value that they were getting with him better than like the value they were getting with Penny Sewell and having to give up on Jamar Chase and all that. And it's like, at this point, if the offensive line ends up being good, does it really matter if obviously if Penny Sewell goes on to be a Hall of Famer and Jamar Chase ends up being a bust, obviously nobody would be happy with that. What I'm saying though is if Penny Sewell just ends up being like, I guess in theory, maybe Penny Sewell doesn't end up having as good of a career as Jackson Carman. And I know that's a stretch, but I'm saying in theory, if that were to happen, then doesn't matter what they did in the first round because they got a really good guy in the second round. Right now, it didn't look like this a couple weeks ago, but right now it looks like they got a really good guy in Jackson Carman. Now see how he can do against starters. We got to figure that part out. But he's coming along. It's working. It's happening. Calm down, relax. Like Thomas said, have some patience. This is what it takes sometimes.
I tell you, man, I'm like, I can't wait. I can't wait to have the same conversation in December. I just can't wait to see what this conversation is gonna be like December. That's the best thing about watching rookies.
The more I've been hearing, the more I've been listening to national analysts and stuff talk about the Bengals, the more I've been analyzing their roster, the more I've been seeing them make progress, the more I've been just kind of seeing how the vision makes sense here, and here, the more I'm starting to think this could be a really fun season for Bengals fans. This could be a playoff year. I'm not saying it's definitely going to be, but I'm saying it could be a playoff year. And honestly, for Zach Taylor's job security, it might need to be a playoff year. And it might actually accomplish it with this squad. And the main thing is we've got depth that we just have never had before. Now, I will say it's part of that depth being tested right now because Joseph Osai, the guy that I think in the last episode we talked about, he's got I thought we were saying he had a wrist injury. And that was, he was probably going to be back by week 1. Well, it turns out now he needs knee surgery and he's going to be out all year. And on top of that, I think Cameron Sample, got a shoulder injury during the game, and Wyatt Hubert's already been out for the whole year. So we drafted 3 pass rushers and all 3 of them are hurt right now. So, but at the same time, we got like a Trey Hendrickson seems to be a home run type free agent signing. So he's a pass rusher. Sam Hubbard's been playing pretty well as a pass rusher. We got this guy, DeMarcus Hodge, who has just been lighting it up as an undrafted nobody who's been coming in and playing really well as a pass rusher. So it's just it seems like the Bengals have depth, which they just didn't have last year. And it's just insane how much of a difference that's really going to make during the season. Because at the end of the day, who has the best 22 starters in the NFL doesn't determine who ends up with the best record at the end of the year. What determines is who's got the ability to do next man up, who can come in and put together a whole scheme that works together. And I think the Bengals finally have good depth. And and as long as Zach Taylor doesn't suck as a head coach, which I don't think he does, then I think that they have the potential to like sneak into a playoff spot this year. I really do.
Man, I think first of all, like I said, I don't think the I've been saying all year I think the Bengals are going to make the playoffs. I stand by that. I stand by that claim. I just really think that I think Zach Taylor is going to figure out ways to use Joe Burrow really well. I just think that everything is just going the right direction for y'all. Between the weapons, I just think our running backs are just going to be running back with the receivers. He's going to make a quick step forward. Y'all forget, y'all got a really good tight end in Samples. Like, I really think Samples is probably one of the more underrated tight ends in the league. Like, these tight ends, like, they develop really quickly. Like, they're good. They can take off. So
I assume you're talking about Drew Sample. Cam Sample's the guy I was just talking about, who's the defensive end who got the shoulder injury.
Yeah, I'm not talking about Cam Samples. I'm talking about Drew Samples. I think our tight end is gonna be good. I think y'all gonna be fine, man. I think you got some players that are surprising y'all on defense. I think there's gonna be a good chance that you guys will make the playoffs. And keep in mind is that nearly half the teams in the AFC make the playoffs, and I don't think the Colts are gonna be that good. So the Colts, that's one less team I got to worry about. So yeah, y'all could be a top 7 team in the AFC.
Well, I will say it sounds like I should probably look this up just to make sure. But I believe I heard Carson Wentz is now expected to be back by week 1.
Yeah, I know. I heard that.
Which is great. Man, I heard something about like his like season being in jeopardy, and now they're talking about Carson Wentz might make it back for week 1. So I mean that would be huge for him.
Yeah, I really don't see him play. Because how am I gonna keep up my bit if he doesn't play?
Well, and it just kind of seems unfair to keep like telling the guy he's trash if he's like hurt and can't like defend himself.
I know. That's why I've been sitting a couple of weeks.
You're over here like, man, I gotta have my justification.
I want to see him stuck in the games like I say he's trash. I really want to just go to an Indianapolis Colts game just to say that he's trash. Let me see the Colts schedule real quick. Indianapolis Colts schedule. Too bad I don't play the Browns this year.
All right, so let's go ahead and talk about this Browns game. Like I said, 17-13. The difference is the Browns actually won the game. Yay, preseason win. Whee! Okay, so I think my biggest takeaway from this was the Browns really kind of put together an overall solid performance from their first team, which was really important. Like for the most part, it's like the Browns' first team performed really well, except for the fact that Case Keenum threw a really bad end zone interception to former Bengals tight end Jordan Franks, by the way.
First of all, I think when we look at the preseason for the Browns, the thing. There's only 4 or 5 spots that are up for grabs for the Browns right now. So really, I think the player that you need to look out for the Browns is. Oops, I just had the name up But anyway, the Browns. One thing about the Browns though, is like I really enjoyed the whole thing that we got to look at is that battle between Caloletta and Case Keenum. Caloletta is obviously just looking better than Case Keenum. Besides the exception of that fumble that he had on that run, other than that, Caloletta just looks better, man. It's not even like close, and like it's kind of insane to think about Caloletta being that much better. But also,
considering how much Case Keenum's being paid.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm as we get close to the season, I'm more for trading or getting rid of Chase Keenum, but Dimitri Felton, that name's been popping up a lot. He's been lining up at receiver and lining up at running back, and he was a 6th-round pick. And a lot of coaches are pretty high on him. So that's something to look out for. Somebody that could play, that could be very versatile. I don't know how he's gonna make this team with all the weapons, Because Dearness Johnson have that running back spot pretty locked down. He didn't look bad at all. He didn't look bad at all.
When I looked up the snap counts, I believe I saw Dimitri Felton was being listed as a fullback.
Yeah, no, so he is so Felton is he's catching passes. He's catching passes. He's let me pull up his let me pull up his stats and stuff. So I'll make sure I'm not. So Felton's catching passes. He's a 6th-round pick. He was a 6th-round pick out of UCLA last year, or this year. And they have him catching passes, they have him running routes, and they have him rushing the ball. So I'm doing a little bit of everything, which is a lot for a young guy. And it's really impressive seeing him being very versatile. It's really impressive seeing him being very versatile at such an early stage of his career. And a lot of players in the locker room, a lot of teams are very high on him. A lot of players in the locker room, a lot of coaches are very high on him. It's very exciting because it's very great. It's great to have a player like that can do a little bit of everything. That just be another weapon on the team that you can have along with Odell Beckham, Jarvis Landry, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Shard Higgins. You got so many weapons on this team. Why not add another one? So that's very exciting. The biggest thing from this week that we have is we have a few injuries this week. Jacob Phillips torn his bicep. He's probably out for the season. That happened in the joint practice.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, Nick Harris got hurt. I don't think it was anything like severe for Nick Harris, but it kind of begs the question. Like, we have these joint practices because we think these joint practices might be safe in the preseason, but people are getting fights in these joint practices, man. Excuse me. So with these fights happening in these joint practices and these injuries happening in these joint practices, let's be real. Like, are these joint practices that much better in preseason? And it makes you wonder. I don't know. You hear Dave Gettleman coming in here talking about how he won the Odell Beckham trade, and he's talking about how he wished he had been the Browns offensive lineman. So he's like insulting us and complimenting us at the same time. There's a lot to take away from this week for the Browns. There's a lot to be learned, but the biggest thing is the Browns, they're still relatively healthy. They have a lot of injuries from those joint practices, but they're still relatively healthy. The important players are healthy. Besides that fight with Troy Hill, I think that Troy Hill got in that fight, or that John Johnson got in that fight. Either way, whoever was in that fight, they couldn't fight. They got a picture of them like this. This is not how you fight. It's not how you throw fists. Who are you gonna punch like this?
Looks like it was Troy Hill who got in the fight.
Yeah, Troy Hill got in the fight. Did you see the photo of him like this?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking at that right now. He's like, he's literally just going like, "I'm gonna punch you." He looks like a bad villain.
There's some meme on your Facebook that said, "Yeah, that moment you realize your homie can't fight." No, but okay. So, all right. So the other big news that came out of Browns camp that just actually came out today, Cody Parkey has just went on the IR. So that's big because that probably means that Chase McLaughlin, that's his name. Is that his name? McLaughlin. I haven't said his name all this time because I was expecting him to be this important, but it looks like he's going to get the starting kicker job if he does what he's supposed to do. It's his to lose.
I used to when I was in college. I had a band in college, and one of our guitarists had that last name. He pronounced it McLaughlin, so I think it might be pronounced McLaughlin, but maybe Jimmy McLaughlin pronounces it differently. I don't know.
Either way, it looks like it's his job to lose, or the kicker job. If not, I can see the Browns trying to get Austin
if he loses
back.
We could really see the draft picks, Thomas.
I really see the Browns trying to. We're not going to give you no draft picks for him. We might go. I don't know what we'll give off for him, but the Browns might end up trying to get him back. So.
Hey, you know what? I'll take a 7th. I really will. I'll take anything.
I don't know. There's a chance the Browns might say, "Hey, let's just get this guy back." You know, he knows the system. Might be.
Yeah.
Might go after.
I don't know how much the kicker needs to know the system, but I mean, he'll know your.
No, I mean, like not just that. He just knows. Like, I mean, he just like I don't know. Like you know what I mean? Like who else would you actually like if you're the Browns? Like, if you want to bring in somebody else, like who else you probably want to go after somebody you already know. I don't know, because like he wasn't bad in Cleveland. He wasn't horrible in Cleveland, but you know, with Cody Parker on the injured reserve
I actually
list,
always kind of wondered why you guys released him because he had.
I wonder he had literally one bad game and they released him.
Right, he had one bad game. It was notably bad, but it was one game, and it's like other than that, I always thought like he was doing pretty well up there in Cleveland. Then he ends up in Cincinnati, and I get all excited because I'm like, yeah, we don't have to deal with Randy Bullock anymore. And then we just keep Randy Bullock for the rest of the year, and then by the time it's time to give Austin Seibert a shot, we go and draft
a kicker,
the next Justin Tucker. Which, by the way, that really is Evan McPherson has been playing like the next Justin Tucker. Which is why Austin Seibert's now expendable because Evan McPherson has absolutely blown the competition away. Like there is no.
Y'all got a good draft pick.
Do what?
Y'all got a good draft pick. See, look, this is why you draft a kicker. This is why you draft a kicker.
Well, you got to draft the right kicker though, because sometimes you draft Robert Aguayo in the 2nd round. Just saying. All right. So
I'm so happy I'm on my bed today. Like I can just like lay back when I hear things like that. Like, oh my god.
All right. Let's move on to our underrated players of the week segment. So for the Bengals and Browns, I'll get it started. For the Browns, I'm going to give it to wide receiver Kadarius Hodge.
Okay, that's a good one.
Who caught the only touchdown pass of the night for the Browns. So, I mean, he's probably getting a little bit of spotlight because he caught the only touchdown. But, I mean, beyond just that, he graded a respectable 70.7 offensive grade per PFF on 30 snaps, which is a very, like I said, respectable showing for a player that's fighting for that 6th and probably last wide receiver spot on this team. Kadarius Hodge might not make the team, but if he, has showings, but if he plays well like that, maybe he could be that 6th guy.
Okay.
Yep. And then, so, why don't you tell me who your underrated player of the week is for the Browns?
I want to go with
discussion.
I want to go with the running back, John Kelly. John Kelly, I don't think that he's going to make the team at all. Too many cooks in the kitchen for that running back room. But I mean, he didn't look bad, man. 9 carries, 58 yards for a touchdown. He didn't look bad at all. He did his thing, but I don't think he's going to make the Browns. But I like what you're doing here. You're out here trying out for a team that's like with a stack like running back room or a stack quarterback room or a stack receiver room. There are some teams out there that don't got running backs and might need one, and they're going to see you. They might come out and poach you, man. So like, keep on impressing. Keep on making those nice runs and stuff. You might get a job somewhere else. So shout out to you.
Opportunity to be somebody's 3rd running back, and then you just climb the depth chart from there.
Yeah, seriously, running backs. If you're a good running back, you can climb. You can climb. You will always climb when you're a running back in this league because there's such a running backs are like they say
injury prone.
They say running backs are a dime a dozen, but at the same time, running backs like if you're talented as a running back, you could really grow.
Well, and that's why, because they're a dime a dozen, because they get injured so damn much, and there's just a plethora of talent out there available for them, and you got to constantly be cycling through them. And I mean, that's part of why they say that. Now, at the same time, when you get guys like Joe Mixon, like Alvin Kamara, Saquon Barkley, Nick Chubb, even Kareem Hunt, those guys aren't a dime a dozen. But the vast majority of running backs out there are basically a dime a dozen. So, I mean, you're right. Like this John Kelly guy, if there's a team out there that's desperate, he could be getting a call up, even if he doesn't make the Browns roster, which he most likely won't. So for the Bengals, I'm going to give the underrated player of the week to Marcus Bailey, the middle linebacker that we drafted in the 7th round last year. He didn't really see a lot of action so much from his rookie year, just largely due to him, kind of being behind everybody else because of his injury recovery. I believe the guy had 2 torn ACLs in college, and they were talking about like, oh, this guy could have been like, a first or second round talent if he had actually been able to develop properly in college without all those injuries. But because he had those injuries, he wasn't able to show the full of what he has. But the thing is, when you see him flash, you can see that talent that he has. It's kind of like when we drafted Wyatt Hubert this year. He ended up getting hurt this year, so maybe he'll flash next year. But Marcus Bailey was out there. I mean, he was all over the place. Part of the reason, like the Bengals offense didn't look so good against the Washington football team, and that's why we lost.
Yeah.
But the defense did pretty well, and that's 2 games in a row now the defenses look pretty good. And part of it is because the starters are doing well, but part of it is just because of that depth. And Marcus Bailey is a perfect example of that depth that we have right there. He was out there, he was covering dudes. He would have had 2 interceptions, but I believe one of them, I think one of them like got knocked out of his hand or something like that. The other one got called back due to a penalty. Got overturned after review. And I think he caught it, but I guess the refs decided otherwise. I don't know. I thought he caught it. But the point being that Marcus Bailey was out there. He was in position for those 2 interceptions. He had his eyes on the prize. He had his head right, and he was in the right place at the right time, pretty much at all times when he was on the field. We've known for a while that Marcus Bailey's really talented, but there was some question as to whether or not he would actually ever reach that level because he missed so much time in college and because he wasn't really getting a lot of playing time last year. But, this week, he allowed a 39.6 passer rating when Washington was throwing in his direction. And that's not nothing. That's a really, really good stat. Now, to say whether he would do that against Tom Brady, I don't know. But he did pretty good against, was it Kyle Allen, the backup quarterback for the Washington football team? So, I mean, that's not nothing. Kyle Allen started a couple games last year. So, it's not nothing. I salute you, Marcus Bailey. I saw you. I know some other people saw you too, but I don't think he's going to get the kind of praise that he probably should get for having one, in my opinion, very good, very underrated game.
Okay. I got you. We're doing Bengals defense, right?
Just Bengals in general.
Bengals in general. I really like Jalen Davis.
Yeah, that was the other one I was thinking about. Yeah.
I really liked him. When I was watching the game for the Bengals, it just felt like he was just in the right spot at the right time. And like those 2 plays, it's crazy because you watch those 2 plays and it feels like it's more than that. But he like I like that kid a lot. I think that he got some. I think he got a lot of upside. So I really like him. I don't know much about him. You probably tell me more about him than I can. But I just, I just like watching from that guy. I think he's very impressive. So he's just adds to that cornerback room, man.
Well, one thing I can tell you about Jalen Davis is I agree. Like I said, he was the other guy. I was thinking about picking him, but a lot of the Bengals podcasts I've been listening to, a lot of them have been really highlighting how well Jalen Davis played. So I figured Marcus Bailey was a little more underrated for this game. But I will say one impressive thing about Jalen Davis. He was part of like the reserve street crew that we went out and got last year because we had all those injuries on defense. And that was part of why our record was so bad, is because we were playing just dudes who were off the street who you never even heard of. Those were the guys who were basically starting because we had
good. Injuries. He looked good, honestly.
Well, he didn't look good last year. That was my point.
He looked good yesterday, though. Or a couple days ago.
No, yeah, he looked good against the Washington football team. But the point is, he was really bad last year, especially against the Steelers. And actually, interestingly enough, against the Washington football team when we played him last year. He was really bad in both of those games. And it was just kind of like, oh my God. But it's like that was part of the reason everybody would say, like, of course we're losing these games because we got Jalen Davis playing at cornerback. But now it's like it's looking like after he's actually had some time to gel with the team and actually he's had an off season to kind of like develop and do something. It's looking like he's playing a lot better with a lot more confidence, and also with a role he's playing where he's expected to be played, which is the number 6 cornerback, not the number 1 cornerback.
Yeah. You know what? I always want to give a shout out to somebody else on the Browns. A player that I think that we should probably pay attention more to. Jordan Elliott. So Jordan Elliott is a defensive tackle that was taken in the 3rd round 2 years ago. He's quietly just coming on. Like he's just quietly coming on. It goes back to why a lot of people are not losing sleep on Takk McKinley. We can talk about Takk McKinley in a minute. The Browns have a lot of young defensive tackles that they just want to give a chance. And that's why they're not really panicking about it. That's why the Takk McKinley news, I don't think Takk McKinley's going to, if I had to bet on it, I don't think Takk McKinley's going to be on the team long term. I think that it's personal issues. I think it's personal issues. I was in an interview on I was in an interview about Kevin Stefanski, and I was in an interview of the Browns general manager Andrew Berry, and they both kind of had very similar answers when it came to Takk McKinley. They kind of like brushed it off, and they kept on talking, and they kind of went to the next topic. So it sounds to me like there's something personal going on, and I'm not sure if we'll see Takk McKinley in the Browns uniform this year. That's disappointing. But with that said, there's a lot of young defensive tackles. When you see the defensive tackles like Jordan Elliott, it excites me because it means that we still have a lot of young up-and-coming players at that position that could fill in. So Jordan Elliott, man, I really like what I'm seeing from him.
But no, yeah, you're right. Like, Jordan Elliott definitely he had a good game. He's been developing well for the Browns, and I don't know, like I didn't really. Jordan Elliott to me is a little bit more well known just because he, I know the 3rd round isn't the most prestigious round out there, but third round picks are generally expected to do pretty well at some point. Whereas you got a guy like Kadero Hodge, like who the hell is that guy?
Oh, no.
Having a good game, and I'm not saying you picked a bad one. I'm just saying that's
Oh no,
I also see you. He had a good game.
You heard my first pick. My first pick was a 6th round pick. So look, man, you get a 6th round pick, you get an honorable mention 3rd round pick.
That's fair.
All right, yeah. So let's go roast these teams in the AFC North.
Yeah, let's go talk about these teams in the AFC North. I will say, let's just go ahead and get this out of the way. I gotta eat a little bit of crow here because Ben Roethlisberger looked like a madman.
He did look really good.
He played really well, and I am not going to sit here and try to hide that. Now I will say it's against the Lions, so take from that what you will. But Ben Roethlisberger had 158.3 quarterback rating. Like he had a really good game. Like let's not try to mince words here. Ben Roethlisberger played really well. And like I said earlier, Penei Sewell did not play super off the wall well. And I think my biggest takeaway from this, though, is the Steelers' offensive line, despite playing the Lions, still like Ben Roethlisberger played extremely well, and I think in spite of some pretty poor pass protection, particularly from Kendrick Green, their 3rd round pick at center, who scored a 31 in pass protection. And then right tackle Joe Haig, who scored a 35 in pass protection. Both of those were pretty significant offseason additions to them for the offensive line and expected to do something. Like the guy with the meme where the guy is poking the dude with the stick, like, come on, do something. Like that's what the Steelers were essentially doing with their offensive line this offseason. And it looks to not really be paying off so well because Trey Turner doesn't look good. Kendrick Green doesn't look good right now. Joe Haig doesn't look good. Now Kevin Dotson's been putting it together. We talked about him potentially losing faith from the coaching staff because he wasn't working hard enough, but these are back-to-back games that Kevin Dotson's looked pretty good. So he's probably going to end up taking over one of those starting jobs on the offensive line. But, again, you're seeing a whole lot of nothing from some of the guys who are supposed to kind of save the position. Was it you had yeah. And on top of that, Ben Roethlisberger is still out here having, like I said, 158.3 quarterback rating, perfect quarterback rating, 83.7 grade per PFF. So, I mean, you got to give credit where credit's due. The guy got it done. That said, the running game still hasn't really come together. I think Kalen Ballage, or whatever his name is, got 30 yards on the ground. Nobody else came close to that. Najee Harris had 2.5 yards per carry. 2.5.
Wow.
So I like look, the Steelers won. You got to give it to them for that. But again, they beat the Lions, and the Lions are the Lions. The Lions might be the new Jets right now.
You beat the Lions in the preseason.
You beat the Lions in the preseason when the Lions are having a lot of their troubles. They didn't even play Jared Goff, who's currently their starting quarterback. The guy who took the majority of the reps was David Blau, who looked really good against the Steelers, by the way. Like David Blau, not a good quarterback, played pretty well against the Steelers defense, which, by the way, that was probably the biggest thing for, like, if you're a Steelers fan, the defense is probably what you're worried about coming out of that game, which that should not be expected. Now, Melvin Ingram had a really good game. Melvin Ingram came in and, was really disruptive, and he looked like he was a pretty good signing. But on the whole, 8 missed tackles by the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. 8. That's 8 times some Steelers player, 8 times on the night, some Steelers player had the guy dead to rights and just completely whiffed. In the NFL. That seems like an anomaly that won't carry over to the actual season itself, but I mean, it can't be a good thing. It really can't. So, I mean, really, honestly, with how well Ben Roethlisberger played, you'd think that the Steelers would have beaten the Detroit Lions by more than 6 points, but he didn't. And it was Ben Roethlisberger carrying the entire team, and Mason Rudolph. Mason Rudolph played pretty well too. So really, the Steelers quarterbacks in general carrying the Steelers on their backs. Dwayne Haskins didn't have that good of a game, but Mason Rudolph and Ben Roethlisberger did pretty well. And they basically carried the Steelers on their backs to that 26-20 victory. The rest of the Steelers did not look so good. And if it hadn't been for Ben Roethlisberger just playing like an absolute fucking cowboy, then the Steelers wouldn't have had a chance in that game, I don't think.
Like, I still don't think they're going to be that good this year.
I don't think they'll be that good. Just because they beat the Lions in the preseason doesn't mean I think they're going to be any good. Now, that does mean that they won all 3 of their preseason games. But you know who else won all their preseason games? The 08 Lions.
Those 16 Browns.
The 0-16 Browns. Both teams that have gone 0-16 in NFL history, both of them won all their preseason games.
I mean, look, here's the thing, man. Look, all right, so yeah, he looked good. All right, fine, he looked good. Cool. I mean, he should know how to look good in a preseason game. It's like his 50th year in the league.
Well, yeah. Well, let's see if his body holds up by the end of the season.
Well, that's the whole point, man. Like his body didn't held up last year, so I mean, like he says he's in better shape this year than he was last year. Fine, let's see it, man. I mean, like I'm not stunning. I'm not stunning Ben Roethlisberger, man. I mean, like, this is what I think is going to happen. He's going to come out to a hot start. He's going to have a hot start like he always does, and then he's going to cool off, and then they're going to collapse. I think they're going to have the same collapse they had last year, but I think it's going to happen a little later in the season, or a little earlier in the season.
I think it's going to happen later in the season. I don't think they're going to have a collapse at all because I don't think they're going to get off to a great start. They might win their first
possibly.
game.
That's possible.
Actually, let me see what the Steelers' schedule is right now. Because okay, so let's see. Week 1, the Steelers play. Let's see, that's preseason. So week 1, they play the Buffalo Bills. That's an L. Week 2, they play the Las Vegas Raiders. I think it's an L. Week 3, they play the Cincinnati Bengals. That's obviously an L. Yeah, they're gonna lose that game. That's no question. Green Bay Packers, Week 4. Aaron Rodgers is back. L. Denver Broncos, Week 5. Drew Lock is playing well. L. Week 6, Seattle Seahawks. Russell Wilson's back, and he's happy apparently now. L. Week 7, bye. Week 8, Browns. L. In Cleveland, by the way. Week 9, Chicago Bears. That might be the Steelers' first win of the season in Week 9.
Wow.
And then they got the Detroit Lions in Week 10. So there's two wins back to back. Then they got the Chargers, which could, I think, go either way. They got the Bengals Week 12, L. They got the Baltimore Ravens Week 13, L. They got the Minnesota Vikings in Minnesota Week 14. I'm not really sure what the Vikings are going to be this year, so I'm not. I'll give that one to them either way.
I think that Vikings and the Steelers are in the same position. They got an aging quarterback. They both got aging quarterbacks that just won't succeed to retiring yet.
I don't think Kirk Cousins is going to retire, but Week 15, they're playing Tennessee Titans. I don't know if I think the Titans are going to be as good this year. I'm not sure. We'll see. I think that one could also go either way. Week 16 in Kansas City, which is now the third to last game of the season. L. Week 17, Cleveland Browns. L. Week 18 at Baltimore Ravens. Depends on where the Ravens are at in that point in the season. If the Ravens are fighting for a playoff spot, L. So at best here, I got maybe 5 wins.
I mean, I don't know, man. Look, see, I just have trouble saying the Steelers are going to be like a horrible team. Like, I don't know. I don't see it. I just don't see why they would be good. The whole thing is that logic, though, I just can't see why they would be a good team. So, like, I can't think of a reason. Like, what?
Because Mike
what
Tomlin's never had a losing season.
What about them that scares me, man? I mean, Juju Smith-Schuster's still doing TikToks like an idiot. So, like, hey, man, like.
Najee Harris is out here having 2.5 yards per carry against the Lions.
I mean, again, it's preseason, but he doesn't look as good as he's supposed to look on the low. And there's that. And then I don't know, man. I don't know. This still seems is so suspicious.
Yeah, I think so.
Like they're so suspect. Like nothing about them scared me. What scared me? Did their defense scare you? This defense don't scare me no more.
The pass rush kind of scares me. Like I said,
the pass rush does. Yeah, the pass rush does. But those cornerbacks don't scare me, man.
Well, see, that's the thing. If you can just throw the ball really fast, then the pass rush isn't going to have time to get to you.
Well, it's a pass rush when you got to go offensive line.
Yeah.
So I mean,
let's go ahead and move on to the Ravens, though, because I think we pretty much. I think at this point we're just running that thing about the Steelers into the ground and barking at the hole. So we're just gonna have to see what happens with them. With the Ravens, they did it, Thomas. The Ravens did it. It's over. The champs have finally fallen. The Ravens are now the all-time preseason champions. Well, sort of. They tied. They tied Vince Lombardi's 1959-62 Packers with their 19th straight preseason win. Congratulations, Baltimore Ravens. Nobody else has won more preseason games in a row than you.
I mean, but they have made the playoffs the last 3 years, though.
Well, it got nothing to do with the preseason.
Yeah, I know. All I'm saying is that the Ravens is just a good organization. Like, they're just a good organization. Like, they used to be the Browns. I mean, the old Browns is such a good organization. They just took our team. But, I mean, that just tells me the Ravens is just a good organization. They're just very organized. They have a good system. They know what they're supposed to do. That's all it says to me.
Yeah, you're totally right. I'm making fun more so of the people, it's all over the news. Whenever the first thing you see when you search Baltimore Ravens just by itself into Google, everybody's talking about the fact that they won 19 straight preseason games, and it's just big fucking deal. Okay, cool. They won 19 straight preseason games. I guess that is kind of an accomplishment. I'll give them that. but still, like, I don't care.
No, I mean, I don't know.
So the one thing I did want to bring up with the Ravens though is like first of all, they played very few players of virtually any importance in this game. So clearly the Ravens don't even really seem to care that much about winning these preseason games. They just keep doing it. But they basically didn't play anybody who matters. They played some offensive linemen who matter, but I mean, even then it was like a few snaps here and there. But one person who has been getting quite a few snaps is former Bengals first-round pick, Andre Smith.
Okay.
Who I hoped never, ever, ever in my life to ever have to talk about again, because holy crap, was I sick of seeing that guy's name on our depth chart by the time he was done at Cincinnati. Oh, my God. I was so sick of Andre Smith. You know what he graded as a pass blocker this week, Thomas?
25.
That's almost right. 23.9.
Oh, cool. Close.
Yeah. Now, granted, he's like their third string right tackle, but he still got 47 snaps on the night, which is the third most of any lineman on the Ravens. And it just kind of makes me think, like, when's the last time the Bengals had a good right tackle? Because
what is the last time I had a good right tackle?
Well, right, like it was Bobby Hart for the last couple of years, and that's Bobby Hart. Like that's all you have to say. That was fucking Bobby Hart. Before Bobby Hart, it was kind of like on and on. It was Andre Smith for going back to like 2009, except 1 year he went to somewhere. We didn't re-sign him and he went somewhere. And for that year, Cedric Ogbuehi, our first round draft pick, offensive tackle, he ended up playing right tackle at least the majority of that year. And so it's like we've had Bobby Hart, Cedric Ogbuehi, Andre Smith, and before Andre Smith, it was Willie Anderson, who's a future Hall of Famer, and that was awesome. But we gotta go all the way back to 2007 for that. That was the last time the Bengals had a good right tackle.
So Bobby Hart,
hopefully Riley Reif looks like he's got it down. Riley Reif has been pretty good so far, but I mean, like if the best. Like I mean, he's like the difference is like Riley Reif is a godsend at that point. That's how bad we've been at right tackle for that long.
Man, I'm sorry.
Miss you, Willie.
I'm sorry for all I got trouble, man.
Awful.
I mean, the Browns are so rich at the offensive line, like it's ridiculous. Like, I mean, like we only have so many good players at offensive line.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you say that, but the Browns have had one of the best offensive lines for the past, like, how many years?
I mean, that's because, like, the Browns always draft offensive linemen. Even when they even drafted one this past year, they're like that the radio hosts were talking about. The Browns just drafted another great. Like, I mean, like, where are they finding these people? Like, the Browns just be drafting offensive. Even when we were bad, we drafted great offensive linemen. We just gave them away. Everybody was Joe Thomas, pretty much.
Yeah. Well, and actually, speaking of James Hudson, the guy that you guys drafted this year, he didn't look so hot this week. I mean, I know we're kind of jumping around now, but just to go back to the Browns game real quick. I mean, we were making fun of some of these like PFF grades. That was one thing I noticed about James Hudson. You know what his PFF grade for pass blocking was?
Oh, well, how bad was it?
19.7.
Ooh.
Like, man, like, I mean, you know, I kind of have a soft spot for James Hudson because, like, I mean, I'm not a UC fan necessarily. I do like UC, but I mean, James Hudson went to UC, and I mean, me being from Cincinnati, I've got a soft spot for UC. So even though James Hudson's on the Browns, I'm still like, I like James Hudson. I want him to do well, but he ain't gonna be doing well if he's out there letting six pressures. He let 6 times. He let somebody just whiz by him to get to the quarterback, and the quarterback had to make a split decision because he had some guy in his face. Like, that was bad.
Yeah, that is bad.
He was actually responsible for one of the 3 sacks on the night too.
Well, I mean,
It was not a good day for him.
I mean, it's preseason. He get better. It's not like he got to play anytime soon. Knock on wood.
Well, I mean that's the
Knock on wood.
hope. But I mean, if we're talking about the Browns drafting all these great offensive linemen, they may have whiffed on that one. But I mean, then again, it is preseason. Let's see how he develops. You know, I mean, I was just talking earlier about letting Jackson Carman develop, but we probably ought to let James Hudson develop too, especially since he's a 5th-round pick.
A lot of players actually been pretty high on that guy, actually, if I'm not mistaken. So I mean, like, we'll see what happens. I'm not sure how good he's gonna be, but like you said, it's preseason. He got a lot of people he can learn behind. He'll be fine.
Dude,
he'll be fine.
Tyler Huntley played literally that entire game for the Ravens. Like, this was a preseason game where they had one guy in at quarterback the whole game. He had 34 pass attempts in the preseason. Like, they're not even trying to, like, come up with, like, you know, oh, well, what's the depth structure at quarterback? They know who their quarterback depth is. They know who's who. They're not even trying to give guys a chance at this point. They're just like, you know, you're either there or you're not. Tyler Huntley, well, yeah, you know what? We're just you are where you're at. We're gonna put you in for the whole game. I don't care.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, like, what is he gonna do? I mean, like, you're just looking for your backup quarterback at this point, right? They got rid of oh shoot, who did they get rid of? Who was their backup originally? I can't remember. I'm blanking. It's late. I work today. But this is the hustle.
So, who do the Browns play next week, and what will be their final preseason?
Atlanta. So they're gonna be in the ATL. Hopefully, Kanye's watching.
All right. Well, also, we'll be able to see. I guess the thought process there is the Browns ought to absolutely shred the Falcons, because that Falcons defense is interesting.
You know, we might see the ones. Maybe. I don't think so. I don't know. I'm down with not playing the ones for the rest of the year. I don't want to see them.
I will say the Bengals play the Dolphins next week, and I'll actually be in attendance at that game.
Okay.
Might be able to get a couple good shots or something. I'm not sure. I'll be up in the canopy because that's about all I can afford. But you know, I'll be at that game, and there's a little bit of talk about, oh, you know, man, is Joe Burrow going to see a little bit of preseason action? I mean, come on, guys. Would you put Joe Burrow in? Come on.
Nope.
No, that's stupid. Especially after last year, you're like, you want to give him as much possible opportunity to make sure that leg is as strong as possible. And yet maybe he's saying now, like, oh, it feels great. It feels 100%. Well, that's fine. Let's make it 105%. Let's wait until we absolutely have to put you in, then we'll put you in. But, like, I mean, is it really worth risking Joe Burrow's health because he wants to, like, get a hit to feel like a football player again? Like, he'll get that after, like, 2 or 3 snaps with this offensive line. Come on.
Yeah, he will. He get his hit. Don't worry.
He will get his welcome back to the NFL moment, trust me. But you don't have to do it this week against the Dolphins in the preseason. That's just I've never really understood. I would have liked to see him play the preseason this year if he had been ready to go, if he was 100%, like if he was out there in training camp and like OTAs and stuff, and he was just absolutely killing it, no setbacks or anything. Yeah, maybe let the dude play in the preseason. But I think the fact that like there was any hesitation whatsoever, and the preseason doesn't matter, and Joe Burrow's not fighting for a roster spot. So like, I mean, like what are we doing here? Just like wait till wait 1 week, Joe. 1 week. It's okay. It's okay. Trust me, Mike December is going to dial up some blitzes, and you'll get your ass smacked then. But just wait a damn week.
Wait 1 week, Joe.
Please. And I mean, he will. He's going to do what the coaching staff tells him to do. I'm hoping the coaching staff makes the right decision here. Like I mean, I would do I selfishly, personally want to see Joe Burrow out there playing football in the game that I get to go to? Yes, but my dad also has season tickets this year, so I'm going to be going to a good amount of games this year. So I'll have plenty of opportunity to see Joe Burrow. Stay the fuck out of action in the preseason, Joe.
I think Joe Burrow play. I think Joe Burrow play one. I think Joe Burrow play one. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
He's pretty damn good. He's pretty damn good. He's pretty damn good.
I saw him play in high school.
I did see him play in high school. I forgot about that. Yeah, I did see him play in high school. Yeah, I seen him play at Athens Bulldogs, baby.
Yeah, I didn't know what I was watching, but Joe Burrow was there and he played, and I witnessed that. I had no idea that I was watching the future like savior of the Bengals franchise, but I was there.
Joe Burrow's a beast.
Yeah, Joe Burrow was a beast. He was a beast back in high school too.
By the way, I really want to say, man, I'm really excited about Odell Beckham this season. I can't stress that enough. I'm really excited about what. I was talking to somebody about this. Somebody told me like, "Yeah, Joe Burrow, Odell Beckham is very humble this year." I think so too. Yeah, like you know he wants it, man. Because like there is just no worse feeling in sports than sitting on the sidelines just watching your team succeed without you. Like there's just no worse feeling as a competitor than to see that. And like that's humbling him. You know for a fact that's humbling him. Like some people say it's not, but I think it is. I think it is. No.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be any issue. But anyway, guys, I think that's pretty much it for today's episode of the Battle of Ohio podcast. I really appreciate you listening. Appreciate you tuning in on. Right now, we're just on YouTube. Eventually, I think we're going to be trying to get out on all the audio platforms and everything like that. But right now, we're just on YouTube. So to catch everything that we do, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and enjoy all the content we put out for you. If you want, you can go subscribe to my other channel, which is just Kyle Phelps. I have no plans on making another video anytime soon, but I'm sure at some point I'll do that because I had fun making the last couple videos, and I'm not planning on that being like a regular thing right now or anything. It's just if you want more content from me, that's a way to do it. You can also find me at atbnetwork.com, around the block, and I'm writing for the Bengals that way, so you can find my content there. Definitely go check that out. And for Thomas, you can find more what he does at the Thomas J Network on YouTube. Yep. And you can also find him at T_star94 on Twitter and Instagram. You can find me at Kyle Phelps 92 on Twitter and Facebook.com/the Phelps. Yeah, thanks for listening, everybody. If you want to come on an episode, just hit me or Thomas up. We're always trying to look for people to come on. If you got any thoughts about anything we talked about, leave it down in the comments or just hit us up and message us. We always like the interaction. So thanks for listening, everybody. I will leave you off with a hooday.
Go Browns.